Welcome back to Hedgehog Hollow. World 5 has been running for a while now, and we're getting ready to start Hedgehog Hollow World 6. We are always looking for new friends to join us, so I thought I would show you what we did here in Hedgehog Hollow World 5. If you are interested, I'll put information in the description about how to ask to join the next world. This is the hotel. I made a video about it, so this is just a quick description of how it works. You get a key. The key is a room number, and you go up and find that room. Inside the room, you put the key inside of a barrel, and that lets you into the room. The rooms themselves aren't very fancy. The intention is to be a safe place to rest. There is a bed and some storage, and there's a place where you can look out at the world. From this side, I can see the hotel gardens and the Easter egg hunt. There's still a few eggs that haven't been found. We do have some holiday events. Mostly we just keep building and digging and building some more. On the other side of the hotel here, we have a small sauna, no redstone in there. And we have an area where you can get some XP if you need it. Just one diamond and you get showered with XP. Then, if you ever get bored, you can head over to the concierge for a challenge of something to do. Let's see what I get. This is a dig a hole challenge. We have a big hole in this area that we're trying to dig down to bedrock. When you finish the challenge, you put the book back on your honor and you get some rewards. I got a chiseled bookshelf and some nether scraps. That's nice. And because I'm in creative doing this video, I can return this exact same book again and I'll get more prizes so you can see what we kind of get. And this time I got an emerald block and a diamond, so the prices aren't too bad. Let's check the rest of the shopping district. First, we have our post office here. This is where you can leave mail or items for any other player, and it lights up to let you know that you have things to pick up. This isn't a fancy one that delivers it to your base, but we still like it. And I better say goodbye to Postman Pete before we shut down this world. And this big building right here caused a bit of a stink. It was obviously some guy's base building right here in the middle of the shopping district. So he turned it into a honey shop because we kept saying make shops here, not houses. But the fancy one is over here. You need a magic book? It's here. It's got everything. This shop was run by Mateus. I'll be telling you more about him later in this video. It's okay if you fast forward straight to his base. Heading back out into the shops. Heading out this way, there's some deep slate, and there's an animal farm out there also. And this is where we have a map of every place that we're building things. And this doesn't include the nether and the end. Another tiny piece of redstone here. Toss an item in the wishing well, you get an item back. Maybe it's a better item, maybe it's a worse item. Who knows? There are plenty of shops here. They all tend to be run by different players. Usually one player makes one shop. Here's mine. It's the iron farm. And plus the area where you can smelt things when you're over here. But if we head over here, there's a flower shop. And you turn to your left. The sign makes it clear. They've got lights, 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 and more lights. Some shops don't have a sign. You have to go figure out what it is. Up on the hill, that's the record shop. And here's the most profitable one of all. This is a wood shop. If you want to make money in a Minecraft realm, do wood. I bet you there's some, yes, there's diamonds in here. And I know that this isn't a shop, but this flower is cool. There's something about it. Every time I walk by, I love seeing that flower there. We all work together to get the armor trim shop all stocked up over here on the left. So no matter what kind of trim you would like to have on your armor, you can go up there and duplicate one of the trim items and do it. You can't miss the rocket shop here. Not all of the shops are clearly visible. There's a couple hiding under the bridge down here. I've always liked how multiple people working together create interesting spaces like this. If it was just me, it would have been all flat and we wouldn't have a slime shop down here, and we wouldn't have the egg shop right here. And you can see that yes, we did duplicate things like the dragon eggs. Some people might say that's a cheat, but we did it anyway. Not all shops are huge and fancy. Here's a couple pop-ups. Some cooked meat in a shop for mob heads. That's a quick run through the shopping district, so now I'm going to show you the individual houses here. We have 4 major directions out of center here. I'm going to start by heading to the west, then I'll go north, then east, and I'm going to end with the south. The first house when heading left belongs to Monique. If you saw any videos from an earlier Hedgehog Hollow world, this was Blossom. Her name changed when she had to use her Microsoft ID. The main item of interest here is her elevator. Check out how fast this elevator goes. I admit it is loud. That is 11 blocks there. It kind of hides her storage room, and we can go back down. There is a tiny glitch at the bottom I'd like to figure out how to smooth out. The next base down the road is mine. This shows up in all of my videos that I've made in this world, so I'll just do a quick fly through. My bases are mostly flat and functional, but there's one item up here most people haven't seen. Hello, Mr. Snowman. And now I'll do a very quick choppy run through. This is my house. When we go inside the house, it has everything you need and a little elevator to get into the main base. Just pop an item in the barrel here, and you're in. On this floor I make a lot of little micro farms just to produce things, mostly stuff that I won't ever use. I make it just because I can make it, like dripstone. How many dripstone do you need? And while all of these farms are very tiny, some of them really overproduce. Like, check this one out. This is one sheep, and look at the amount of wool that he produces. The main reason I make most of these farms is just because it's a challenge to squeeze these farms into such a tiny little space and make them side by side where they don't interfere with one another. I do use them though. I did a lot of fishing here in this little fishing farm. Now we head down into my main storage area. Again, I made a video about how this storage area works with the overflow protection to take care of all the items once you've completely filled a chest. I made a big iron farm here. It's a 40 villager iron farm, so it works pretty well. And it's not really huge with 40 villagers. I get plenty of iron out of it. You can see I designed it so mobs spawn up there as well. I tried to make a pretty little living area on this side. I never really did much. I just have a fire and a couch. I did make a little area here to store all of the collectible items to see if I can get everything. I never got all of the horns. That's enough of my base. Let's fly around some farms. Heading further west, you can see a small gold farm and a mob farm on the left. And over here on the right, this is the nether map, and behind that is the end portal, which I'll get to that later. This is a very long road, so I'll do this at double speed. It's easy to miss small bases like this. They're just put in the side of a hill. Another thing I like about playing on the realms are places like this. Somebody joined, came in, made this little base here, which I just love, and then left. I don't know who built it. I don't know if they ever plan to come back and improve it anymore, but I just really like this cute little base here. I hope whoever it was decides to join Hedgehog Hollow 6. And now a quick cut to a couple farms over here. Hopefully you can figure out what kind of farm this is before we get to it. It's obviously a witch farm. There are 2 witch huts nearby here. I really hope that we could get both of them to work together in a double witch farm, but they're just slightly too far apart. That one's way over there, and we couldn't get both of them to spawn at the same time. I mean, technically we could build 2 witch farms and have one person at each, but what's the point? This farm may not be as obvious. This is a potion farm. It houses other little farms that create a lot of the ingredients that you tend to use in potions. I'd like to make another one similar to this, where you can just throw the ingredients in a barrel, press a button, and get the potions that you need. As it is, this is mainly just like a multi-farm, a whole bunch of little farms contained in one spot. But this is a good chance to show you the nether road that connects everything. Throughout the nether we have a very similar highway, though it uses different materials. You have ice. I tried to make as much blue ice as I could. I know other people were filling in plenty of blue ice as well, so it's pretty fast. And if you have Soul Speed boots, there's soul soil up on the sides that you can use. And we tried to make sure everything was carpeted. That keeps any mobs from spawning inside the main highway. You can use boats on this, but if you run, you can run really, really fast just as well. And here we are at the central hub, which links back into the shopping district, along with a map to help you find your way around in the Nether. Now let's head back and check the North Road. Now we're going to head north out of the shopping district. The first base we're going to come to is QWERTY's base up here on the right. I have a strong feeling he's going to make a video about this world himself, so I'm just going to very quickly show you how cool his house looks, and this is just the beginning. And keep in mind, this is his starter house. This isn't like a little hut that most people make as a starter house. Another item of interest is that he's very fluent in French, so this is not just an English realm. And I can follow this path that he made that goes up to where his current base is. It may look like a big plus sign with water in the middle, but that's actually the entrance into a huge underground base that he built inside of a stronghold. And that little pink house right over here belongs to Blossom, one of the very first players on Hedgehog Hollow 5. And as I said, I think he's going to make a video, so we'll just fly over the entrance to his main base right here. And as soon as he posts his video, I will put a link to it down in the description. For now, a quick jump cut to the end of the North Road. And here we are at the north end of the road, and you can see coming up, there are some large statues. There are plenty of statues around the world now, but these are the first 4 that appeared. When I first saw them, I was kind of surprised. I did not realize that the creeper was so much shorter than skeletons and zombies. This area was reserved as a museum, which is why the statues are here, because this is basically a big museum. And there's one more statue kind of hidden in here. It's the cat that you find if you ever go in one of the woodland mansions. And I guess that stack of blocks does count as a statue as well. Now let's get to the East Road. There are a lot of bases to pass through in this direction. I forgot about the stupid little fish dispenser. Every time you run through here, you get a fish. Why? I don't know. The first base we're going to pass through is off to the right here. It belongs to La Tortuga. From a distance, you don't see a lot, but as we come into it, you can see this is a large base, and it has a lot of farms. I saw her run these farms right here. These are zero-tick farms. They produce a lot of kelp. While most people make farms look very industrial, she makes them very designed. Look at the design that she has here on simple wood patterns. Even her lamps look cool. I'm not really sure what this building is, but I just like the way it looks. These farms are new. I wonder what they are. Can I figure it out? Oh, chicken farms. She's got plenty of cooked chicken. While this looks pretty interesting, this is just the beginning of her base. A lot of her base is underground, which you can see through this glassed-in hole right here. Maybe we can get her to make a video to show us all the cool stuff down there. Now a high-speed run to the next base. There is a massive wall around this base. It's much larger than you might think it is. I like the way the gate works. Check out what happens as I just charge at the gate full speed. The redstone lets me through, and best of all, this works in both directions. This base belongs to Sugar and Stray. If you watched the previous Hedgehog Hollow videos, Sugar was called Jaxosaur before he had to change his name with the whole Microsoft Realms thing. In the middle of their base is their starter base, which is walled in inside here. It's hard to see all of the construction through the trees, but they have some interesting areas, like their animal farm here. Some people make sure they have a couple of each animal. They go far beyond a couple of each animal. And it gets noisy in here. While you won't see a whole lot of construction at ground level, stupid egg, they have a lot of construction as you go down. This goes down into their mine, all the way down into the deep slate. And you can see their design style. They take what's given to them and design their base around it, rather than like what I do, just flattening everything out. And here you can see it goes even further down into some more mines, and it comes off into a base that's hidden deep into a dripstone cave. Now let's cut to another part of their base that I found interesting. This path leads up to a snow base that they're building. You can see the walls around it. Off on the left there is a goat horn farm. It works pretty well. There's a whole lot of goat horns in here. I personally haven't seen any of the screaming goat horns, but if you want any of the others, there's plenty to give away. The wall around this is pretty interesting. It goes all the way around where they were planning on building a base on the inside. Imagine the time it took just to build this wall here. But instead of hitting every single detail, let's continue the trip out east. Nearing the end of the east road, you can see Lady Ada's base. It's a floating base up in the sky up here. First, she has a little food farm over here. I've tried to build these a few times. I have trouble with them. They don't tend to work for me. She has each of the main crops here with farmers. And if you come down, you can see that hers is working. There's plenty of food coming out of those farmers up above. And now let's enter her base the proper way, with a little bubble column that goes up. And up we go. And once again, this base looks nothing like anything I would have built. Who would have thought cherry and cobble goes together so nice? But let's get moving, because this next base is going to be something kind of surprising. We're coming up on the land of Mateas. This is not a base. This thing is huge. You can already see we have some houses, and that's not just a house, that's a whole farm of some kind in there. There's a big mob farm on the left, and just past that is yet another farm. And when I say farm, I'm not talking about little farms like I make in my base. These things are huge, they're massive, and they overproduce. No matter what it is you need, he has a farm that makes it, and it makes a lot of it. On the bottom right here, he's making the Ravager game that from Hermitcraft, and a huge gold farm in the background that makes way too much gold. And notice that his farms aren't just big cobblestone farms. Look at the interesting construction that he's using in these farms. While it might not all go together perfectly, it makes for an extremely interesting base. Just check out this slime farm here. That actually looks like a slime farm. And some of it, I don't even know what it is. Like, what is this thing flying up here for? I think it's a raid farm, but I'm not really sure. Regardless, I know that he's going to be joining the next version of Hedgehog Hollow, and he's going to make even better farms than all of these that he's already made here in Hedgehog Hollow 5. So let's hit the last leg of the tour now and head south from Central. We go through the hotel to head to the south. This is going to be different because there aren't any players building huge bases in the south side until we started expanding down to the very ends of the south road here. So you have a small house here. I think it's pretty interesting. Another small house over on the right, which again, I feel is pretty interesting. And as you head down the south road, you'll see that it's speckled with a little house here, a little house there. But I'm going to fast forward and race down to South Central. What happened was everyone had been building and building, and we decided we wanted to build more. So all of us decided together we would go down to this area we called South Central, and we'd start building brand new bases at that point. It was an unexplored area, which also gave us access to trial chambers. On the left side over here, there is a trading hall with an iron farm on top. It's on top of a zombie spawner, so it gives you the auto discount that zombie spawners tend to give. And as I continue, you'll start seeing it, the South Central building up ahead. This is where we're going to put some farms inside of a central area. We didn't really decide what we were going to put into it, but I like how it exposes itself through the vines as you come into it. And I like the design of the building. And as I get closer, you can see that old reflection trick. The doors are reflecting up above. Once this was open, all of the players came down and started building bases around South Central. I built my base on the right hand side over here. It is a completely different design than my original base. That was kind of the goal. Let's all try to do something very different. I was going for kind of like a weird futuristic techie look. I think it turned more into a weird garbage pile of random blocks that don't go together. But with that in mind, let's buzz across to where everyone else built on the other side. I guess they wanted to be far away from my little monstrosity of a building. And just past the South Central Tower here, which happens to shoot fireworks at night, I think that's kind of cool, you will see Mateus was building a large base, and next to it, this cute building just tends to look kind of tiny in comparison. Mateus went for a bit of a different building style. While you have this large globe structure up above, you can see that his base goes very, very deep down below. Over here is QWERTY's base. He went for more of a standard ranch style base with his new one here at South Central. And there's more here, but let's buzz across to the end so I can finish the tour. And now the end. I wanted to make this approach at night because I think the sign looks better kind of lit up at night with the dark background. At first I thought that the sign was way too big, but now I think it works just right. And now I'll make a quick cut to the daytime. This is designed as a terminal, like we're doing traveling to the end. We even have people up here working the desk, and we can head down out of this big waiting room and into the actual terminal where you head off to the end. Multiple players work together to try and give this a feel of a upscale-ish looking terminal that you go off on fancy travel from. If you look over here at the glasses, you will also see a tiny bit of redstone, giving the impression of little flights taking off and heading out to the end island. And that's a very quick tour of Hedgehog Hollow 5. And now we're heading off to Hedgehog Hollow 6. And here we are. Most of the players from Hedgehog Hollow 5 said that they want to come here and do Hedgehog Hollow 6. If you like what we did in Hedgehog Hollow 5, perhaps you'd like to join us. On Discord, search for the channel Hedgehog Hollow. You can introduce yourself, and if you agree with the rules, basically, don't be a jerk, then we can invite you to join the realm. I expect this is my last video from Hedgehog Hollow 5. I'll see you again in Hedgehog Hollow 6. Goodbye.